Now, there are a couple of exceptions to the same origin policy, so let's go through them. They're not the most interesting thing, but we should talk about them anyway. So we've already seen that if websites have different origins, they cannot interact with each other. And this includes cases where you have two browser tabs open with two different websites. It might also include cases where you have iframes. Remember, an iframe is a website embedded inside another website. So if this website embeds this unrelated website, then the two websites cannot interact with each other. That's what the same origin policy enforces. So if you have an outer window and it embeds this little inner window, the inner window cannot go and draw extra pictures or change the words on the outer window, and vice versa. Now, a couple of exceptions. One is that if you embed some JavaScript, it runs with the origin of the page that loads it. So what that means is that if cs161.org has some HTML, and the HTML says, go to google.com, download this JavaScript, and put it on my website, then we will consider the JavaScript to have cs161.org as its origin. And the reason here is that if you're asking to download JavaScript from someone else, we could think of that as copy-pasting their JavaScript onto our website. So it has the origin of our website, not the origin of wherever we downloaded that particular JavaScript from. So that's one of the exceptions. Now, another exception is that you are allowed to go fetch images from other origins. So for example, if I'm building a website, maybe I really want to put a picture, but the picture is on somebody else's website. So I can use HTML image tags to embed somebody else's picture. Now, we have to enforce same origin policy. So the same origin policy says if you fetch someone else's picture, you cannot draw on their picture. You can't change what their picture looks like because you have your origin, the picture has someone else's origin, they are not the same. So you can't draw on their picture or otherwise change their picture, but you can at least do things like resize the picture. So there are some limited things you can do if you want to display images from other origins. For example, you can make the picture larger or smaller, that's OK, but you cannot draw on the picture, that's not allowed. And finally, if you really do want to share data between two different origins, so maybe two unrelated websites, they want to talk to each other for some reason, and they want one tab to affect the other, or the inner frame to change the outer frame, or maybe two websites are actually related, but the same origin policy doesn't know that because it's only doing string matching, there is some limited sharing that you can do. And it requires both websites to agree. You can look into something called cross-origin resource sharing if you're interested. We will not talk about it further. And in JavaScript, there's also a very limited function you can use to send messages between two websites that are open that have different origins. But it's very limited. So you can't use post message to draw on someone else's website without their permission. It's very limited, and there's not too much you can do with it. But if you want some level of sharing, you can technically do so, but it's not a free-for-all. So you can't go and draw on other people's websites all you want or steal their data. So that's the same origin policy. It enforces that unrelated websites cannot interact with a couple of exceptions.